Good afternoon. How are you today? I am coming to you a little bit earlier than I usually do. Um, Tonight, my husband and son, right after dinner, they are taking off to begin their journey into martial arts. They both signed up for classes, and tonight's the first night. It's also my son getting off of work. He just got a job at a restaurant. Has now entered the world of bussing tables. And so, of course, around the house, he is telling us, just how things should be with setting the table and, cleaning up and so on. So I have one kid who is a bagger at a grocery store and another kid who is a busser at a restaurant. Those are pretty lowly careers to start out in, but hey, Lindsay, I'm glad you're catching me live too. But once you start earning your own money, when you're 16, 17, 18 years old, and then of course into your young adulthood, it opens a whole new world where you start really understanding the value of the dollar. My son was telling me, showing me a picture on the Nike, I think it was a Nike website. I think it was like a custom designed shoe. And Mom, with my first paycheck, he hasn't even had one paycheck yet. With my first paycheck, I'm going to buy these shoes. And he is like a shoe horse. I mean, he has so many shoes. He always has loved shoes. And I was like, you might want to think twice about how many hours you're putting in making the wage you're making. Not much. I don't even know if he's getting tips. He doesn't know yet. Just to put it all in a pair of shoes. But you live and learn. How many of you, when you got your first job, in fact, tell me in the comments, whether you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook, what was your very first job? It really is an eye-opener when you get that first job and you're all excited. Mine, believe it or not, was at a JCPenney's in Phoenix. And it was really kind of an odd job. We were down in a basement, me and about maybe 8 or 10, 12 other people. And apparently the cash registers in certain departments had gone awry. And remember when back in the old days, you would get a paper receipt? Well, you still get those. Well, we were looking at like the carbon copy of those receipts and going through long rolls of these, looking for certain codes, because I guess they were tracking this, how certain items were sold. And I would just go through that just one at a time, and I would just give them my all. I was 15 and a half, making probably $2 an hour. But, everyone has to start somewhere. Lindsay says that she was a cashier at Dillard's. Well, that's a step up from bagging groceries. Sue says she was a coffee girl and a Swedish smorgasbord. Well, that sounds like maybe, Sue, maybe the side benefits of some yummy meals might be there. We did discover that my son is not going to get restaurant meals. And so he'll just have to put a protein bar in his pocket or something when he works those longer shifts. So today, our topic is getting prepped at yard sales. And over the years, I have found some pretty remarkable buys at yard sales / garage sales. Are there any other names they go by? Yard sales, garage sales, kind of where we live, it's kind of both. Someone puts a sign up and, whatever it's called, you know what it is. You're going to go over to someone's house, and there's going to be a bunch of crap out in the front yard and in the garage. And hopefully there's a piece of crap in there that you want or you need, or it just looks kind of cool and it only costs, $5, and so you're going to take it home with you. So yes, yard sales and garage sales. Some other comments coming in about first jobs. I just want to recognize those because they're fun. Anne worked at a donut shop. And I could never trust myself at a donut shop or a candy store. At C's Candies, they had those in Phoenix, and I thought, that would be an interesting job to have. Interesting, as in trying out every flavor twice a day, and then at least. Let's see, and Lindsay says the grocery bagger is the last person that's able to make a good impression by smiling at the customer. You're right. And in fact, that is my daughter's boss told her, I wish that we could just turn you into a spritzer and spritz you all over the store, because she apparently, is cheerful and happy. And as an introvert, I've got to tell you, though, it has been rough on her to be on the front line of customer service. So she's going to be working at one of those curbside. You know how you go on the internet and you place your, you order everything you want from the grocery store, and then you go pick it up later. That's going to be her job. So yes, she will still have customer contact, but not as much, and it probably won't be nearly as traumatizing to my little introverted daughter. Margaret says she stocked candy in a luncheonette when she was only 13. let's see. And Sue says that she's never once eaten at, I wish I could say I've never once eaten at a restaurant. Yes. A lot of us would be, our bank accounts would be a lot bigger if we just said no to ever not eating at a restaurant again, if that grammar made sense. So let's talk about yard sales. I first had this idea years and years ago when I lived in the western part of the Phoenix, called the Valley of the Sun. That's all, everything that's kind of connected to Phoenix. We happened to live way out west where we were close to Sun City and some other massive retirement communities. And by massive, I mean, hundreds of thousands of people. And I discovered that they had the best yard sales because they would, typically the people that I would be having these garage sales and sometimes estate sales if they had passed on, they would have purchased things way back when quality was everything. And I would see hand tools, and even though I wasn't shopping really for hand tools at the time, I would see hand tools that probably were made in the 40s, 50s, and into the 60s, and you could just tell the quality was there. And whatever the hand tool was, I would expect that it would last for decades more. And that really caught my attention. Some of my favorite finds as I was hitting these different sales, I got a really good emergency radio one time, the kind that has a little solar panel, it has the wind up and the battery powered, and then you can even, plug it into an electrical outlet. That was a good find for just a few dollars. I have gotten most of my cast iron skillets and my cast iron pots at yard sales. Here's a little bit of a warning. I once was going to buy a water bath canner. And I looked at the big pot, and real quickly I went on Amazon and I priced what the same water bath canner would have been. And it was actually cheaper on Amazon. Same brand, same size. So yes, not every single thing you find that you want, that you think, oh, this is great for prepping, it's great for food storage or whatever, the price may or may not be great. So just keep that in mind. Very rarely have I come across something, though, that I didn't think was a really good bargain. I also stocked up on different kinds of medical supplies. And what I learned just by talking to the people who are managing the estate sales and sometimes the garage sales is that very often the people, when they were sick, they would have a visiting nurse come. And they would stock up on all kinds of things. I purchased boxes of different kinds of medical gloves, all kinds of first aid things, gauze patches and medical tape, you name it. It really was a gold mine. And, if you look at it, they want to get rid of this stuff, because maybe they're clearing out, they're going to sell the house, or they're going to downsize or whatever. And it was just a blessing to me because I was able to buy things that I actually really could have used. So I have 3 tips for you. Number 1, know when and where the best yard sales are. And what I discovered was retirement communities, upscale neighborhoods. If I was going to look for something, let's say a really good backpack, for example, I might not find that at a retirement community. Then again, I might. But if I would go to neighborhoods where they just had, generally speaking, they would have more just expendable income, then I would find things that were higher quality. So I also learned that from going to secondhand clothing stores, is that the really good shoes and purses and high quality clothing, it was much better there generally than a Goodwill. So your mileage may vary, but you'll never know until you just start hitting some of these places on a regular basis. Also, just keep in mind that yard sales are seasonal. And I know the big out in Arizona, Phoenix area, because it was so hot, the yard sale season wouldn't start really until the weather had cooled down a little bit in the fall, and it would go through the winter, and then it would end, when the really hot temperatures started. And in Phoenix, sometimes that's February. But just know that there are seasons. And if it's not yard sale or garage sale season where you live, then just start going to thrift sales. Just get go and look up thrift sales near you within 10 miles or 20 miles, whatever, and then find ones where you think, what, this is a really good neighborhood. I have a better chance of finding things and buying them that are good quality. So I was going to tell you one more thing about that. It'll come back to me. Tip number 2, I touched on this, look for quality. You do not want to take someone else's crap that is barely hanging in there and then bring it into your house where it finally breaks and really then becomes useless. And one quote I read a few months ago that kind of definitely pointed the finger at me. It said, if you look around you, everything that you see used to be money. So the last thing that you want is to just load up on things that at a yard sale, you bring it home and now you're out that money. And if those items really are not handy and useful to you in a significant way, then you just turned your money over to someone and now you have their junk. So quality really does count. And here is one interesting thing. One thing I have found again and again are things like wheat grinders, food dehydrators, things that kind of are gimmicky. And here's how I imagine it to kind of how it plays out. Someone watches an infomercial on TV. Are you kind of with me on that? You're watching an infomercial and there is something really cool. And maybe it's a food dehydrator and you just start imagining, I'm going to be dehydrating all this great food. It's going to be healthy snacks. You know, we don't have to go and stock, you know, buy candies and chips anymore. We're just going to do amazing things with this food dehydrator. Well, there are people just like you who made the purchase and now they want to get rid of it. And kind of the sequence I kind of imagine is they have this impulse buy. They try it once or twice. Maybe they grind some wheat once and realize that making bread is just a lot more difficult than they thought or more time consuming. And then they put whatever it is away. It could be, you know, a really nice backpack. They were going to, you know, really start backpacking across the country or whatever. And they bought a top of the line Osprey backpack. And maybe they tried it once and now it's under a bed or it's in a closet or it's shoved away someplace. And then the fourth stage, I should have a name for all these stages, kind of like a period of mourning, right? But the last stage is you look at that thing, you wonder, what was I thinking? Maybe I can just get rid of it. I'm going to try to sell it at a yard sale or maybe on eBay or, you know, maybe on a neighborhood forum. So if that resonates with you, then just imagine how many people around you actually did all of that. They bought the dehydrator, they bought the special blender, they bought, you know, whatever kind of specialty, you know, an extra thick mattress pad for camping. Now, their whole sequence there is a gift to you because now you can just pop in, kindly relieve them of that high quality piece of camping gear or cast iron or whatever. And now you have something that you are actually going to use because you know how important it is and you know how to use it. So a couple of things from my shopping list, and I have this for you as a printable, but a few things to look for might be survival related books. You might find Boy Scout manuals, the older the better. You might find different kinds of cookbooks, but don't go overboard on the cookbooks just because sometimes those become, you know, kind of cookbook, I don't know, paperweight. So make sure that whatever is in there is going to be relevant and you're going to actually use it. I got my grain mill at, I think at a yard sale. And I got my food dehydrator on Craigslist. So the trick is kind of to know what you're looking for. If you've ever seen antique dealers at auctions or antique dealers going to these different kinds of estate sales and so on, they know exactly what they're looking for. And they're going to pass everything by. They're good, and that's why they're so fast at this. And you can be too. Let's say you go in and all you want are some pieces of cast iron, right? Skillets, whatever. You know, I love my big Dutch oven. Let's say you know that's what you're looking for. You go in, you just kind of scan, and then you go on to the next yard sale. So know what you're looking for. Camping equipment, as I mentioned, good quality tents. We have a really good quality tent that we will probably be putting up for sale. I don't know, sometime soon. Now that our kids are grown, and I don't know that we're going to be tent camping that much in the future, that I may have that up for sale someday. Good quality knives. I have found just like straight blade knives as well as folding knives like K-Bar, Gerber, I have found Swiss Army knives, I have found multi-tools, those kinds of things. If you have gone through my course, Build Your Best Ever Emergency Kit, and I'll try to remember to put a link to that. You can sign it up, it's free, it's all delivered by email. That will give you an idea of what to look for things like emergency kits or bug out bags. Tools, even boots. I bought the best heavy-duty winter coat for my husband. They had just had it cleaned, so it had just gone through, you know, the dry cleaners, and he has used it a few times. And it's not super cold where we've ever lived, but when it is cold, he's kind of cold-natured and is always, you know, is always cold. His hands and feet are always cold. It's been a huge blessing, and I think I got it for $10. It was, I couldn't believe the price I got. Oh gosh. I mentioned food dehydrators, different kinds of emergency supplies. I have come across freeze-dried food. I have come across emergency blankets, flashlights, all kinds of different light sources. It really is amazing what you'll find. But my advice, look for quality, know where to shop, and then also know what you want to buy. You don't want to get in there and then just turn over your perfectly good money for stuff that, it's just going to become a waste to you in a matter of days or months or however long it takes for you to emotionally part with that thing, whatever that thing is. And yes, we form emotional commitments. I think especially when we really feel like we got a good deal on something and we're patting ourselves on the back, and then gradually, little by little by little, we come to the realization, I'm never going to use that. I'm never going to use whatever it was, that bread maker or whatever. Can you relate to any of this? If you're listening to me on podcast, you can always shoot me an email, lisa@thesurvivalmom.com, and tell me your experiences and maybe where you have found the very best best yard sales or whatever. And let me read a couple of comments here. And by the way, if you're on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, same thing, leave your comments. But John says, we find all kinds of preparedness treasures at estate sales. Ultimately, those became my favorite. They found a 1934 Singer treadle sewing machine for $100. That's like just finding a diamond, right? A diamond in the rough. Let's see, what else do we have here? Facebook Marketplace. Okay, I have noticed that, Deborah, and I haven't personally shopped there before. Trish says, I sell and buy a lot of stuff on Marketplace online. And someone says, a light for sale. Sue says, nope, she can't relate. She has never once purchased anything. Telling herself it's fantasy. It's going to rock my world. It's going to change my world forever. Well, Sue, I really have to put you on a pedestal for that. Oh, so it's apparently from some of the comments, Facebook Marketplace is maybe the place to go. Also, you can also, wherever town you live in, you might look up and just see, if you live in Fort Worth, maybe do a Google search, Fort Worth Community Forum or Fort Worth Forum, because where I live, we have 3 or 4 different forums, and then each one of them has their own little marketplace and place to buy and sell. So I want you to get my shopping list. It is awesome. There are tons of stuff on there, including a lot of things like junk silver. I mean, have you ever thought of going to a yard sale and looking for things made out of sterling silver? Okay, that's on my list. So go to thesurvivalmom.com/yard sale. thesurvivalmom.com/yard sale, and give my email system just a few minutes, and that will pop right into your email box. So I just want to close by telling you that being prepared, getting ready to survive a worst case scenario or just kind of an everyday emergency, it really does not have to cost much. It really does not. If you've gone through my 5-day challenge to build your best ever emergency kit, then you will know that I emphasize go for frugal. Do not spend a whole lot of money, because you can use your money toward other things. You might decide I want to buy, maybe 2 or 3 weeks worth of freeze-dried meals. Well, if you put your money out on something where you could have saved it, by maybe going to a yard sale or an estate sale, then you're just going to be behind in stocking up on other things you want. So over in the description for this video lesson all about getting prepped at yard sales, I'm going to include a link to my free online course, Build Your Best Ever Emergency Kit. All the video lessons are delivered by email, as well as a 40-some page workbook. That will give you a fantastic project to work on in the days and the weeks ahead. So I want to thank you for being here. Tomorrow, what is our topic? It is going to be, tomorrow I actually have a water cheat sheet for you. And this cheat sheet is going to have instructions for using bleach. It's going to give you instructions for how to purify water in different ways. And it's even going to give you a little checklist for everything you should have on hand. Not much, maybe just 7 or 8 items you have to have on hand the next time there's a boil notice or a water line breaks or something similar. So thanks for being with me. Grab that yard sale shopping list, and I will see you the next time around.